think what COVID-19 teaches us is that the world is deeply interdependent. What happens to our neighbors happens to us. So health and risk for our neighbor is health and risk for ourselves. So we need to recognize that interdependence is critical for all of us. So, as we begin to emerge from the crisis point, in the next 3 to 18 months, really depends on how one measures these things. As we emerge from that crisis, I think it's really important that we find ways to build a public dialogue that recognizes and affirms interdependence, so that all the partners in solutions come to the table. So, what does that mean? I think that means that each sector in society, so that's government, that's business, that's faith and civil society groups, each of those sectors have assets and gifts to bring to the table as we find ways to seek justice and rebuild post-pandemic. And each of those gifts, each of those assets are critical for the path of healing and rebuilding. So in terms of public policy, that's a dialogue. I mean, we're called the Center for Public Dialogue, and we really value a recognition that all sectors have gifts and perspectives to bring to the way we achieve a healthy new public environment, public policy. I suppose another thing I'd say in a similar vein is that I don't think normal is something we should aspire to. I think many of us recognize that the normal of the past of even 3 months ago had some significant gaps in terms of the way people were cared for, the way the earth was cared for. So I think that whole principle of interdependence that I was talking about is something we really need to pay attention to carefully and thoughtfully. So it's about a deep focus on those gifts and assets and caring for our neighbors, and recognizing that interdependence is something that we've often given lip service to. This pandemic doesn't let us do that.